Welcome to another episode of Plusable Talks. My name is Carlos Ferrara, and it is my pleasure to introduce a great friend, a great champion of the city of Newark, in particular of the Ironbound, Councilman of the East Ward, Michael Silva.
Pleasure to be here, Carlos, like always.
Welcome. It's always a pleasure. I see you very active. Election season's coming up, May 12th. How's it looking? I know that you're very passionate, very excited for another term.
So we've reached the point where the first 4 years are almost over. July 1st we'll start the second 4-year term. I'm running unopposed, which is a testament to all the hard work of my team, the community as well. Like Plausible and other organizations that have been such a great support to me and great support to the East Ward. And so, but again, I'm running on a team headed by Mayor Baraka. And it's the Baraka team. And so it encompasses my council colleagues on that team. And we have to get people out to vote. We have to educate people and show them that a local election is more important than a federal election and a state election. They're all important. All elections are important. It's important to get out to vote for all of them. But I always use the example, if your garbage doesn't picked up, you're not texting the White House. If you want police services, you're not calling the governor. You're calling the councilman who has more to do with your everyday life than those other government entities, right? So again, it's important to get out on May 12th and get out and vote for the Baraka team.
Do you think that voters still undermine the value of the local government?
I think so. I think it's a lack of education as well. People don't realize it. They think the president of the United States, it's so much important, but really the president doesn't have an impact on your everyday life like I do. Yeah, your gas prices are a little higher. That's fine. But the services that affect your daily life, like I said, the garbage, the street cleaning, the police services, the fire services are all through the councilman. And so again, on May 12th, it's important. It's your voice. If you're not happy with something, if you're concerned about something, that is your moment to vote. It's our right as American citizens to get out and vote for who we believe in is going to make our lives and our families' lives better for the next 4 years.
Well, you touch a very interesting topic, the lack of education. So, what's the best way for the residents of the ward to interact with you? I know that you're very active. You're also very well surrounded with a very active team. Ricky Duran also does a great work covering all of your appearances and what you're doing. So there's a sense of transparency and proximity. But what do you think that it's the best way to interact with your office so that the communication is efficient? I know sometimes people criticize, but instead of criticizing, why don't they just call you
Yeah.
and focus on solving the situation?
Sure. I always say, don't become part of the problem, become part of the solution. And so I use social media, I use SPT, I use Plausible, I use Ricky at WNN. There's multiple, I have my own videos that I put out on my councilman page on a regular basis, just trying to educate people on what we just spoke about. And so important, most of all, is to understand that if we don't come together collectively, then there's a problem, right? Unfortunately, politics works or public service works in a way where it's like almost like if you have a 5-story building and it's a factory, the first, second, third, fourth, fifth, whichever floor produces the most is going to get the most in return. And so, again, as a ward, we've had a history of not showing up at elections. And sometimes people complain we don't get the services we deserve. And they correlate together. They correlate together. If the South Ward comes out and has 10,000 votes and we have 5,000 votes, I'm pretty sure that they're going to be looked at as getting services before the East Ward. And so that's why I tell people, and prime example is when I ran in 2022, there were 3,500 votes. When the presidential election in 2024, there were 8,500 votes, 5,000 more votes than a local election. And that's alarming. And so it's up to me as the councilman to make sure that I get the message out and use every possible avenue, whether it be a newspaper, whether it be social media, whatever it may be, in different languages to get the information out to those that are eligible to vote.
And where does that you've been really motivated from the very get. You've just been at it and always active and going around. It was a pretty big learning curve. So
course.
you're on social media, you interact with the media, local media, and beyond, always making yourself available. Where do you think that that energy comes from? And
Well,
let's just go over that learning curve as well.
yeah. Yeah, well, that energy comes from my prior career, right? I was in law enforcement for 28 years. I grew up in the East Ward, Ironbound. I'm the son of two hardworking parents who would leave the house at 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning for 30 plus years. And so to ask me to get up and make my community better or make my city better is really not an ask. It's something that I enjoy and love to do. And that's why I'm out there. I've been told numerous times, I was told today that I need to slow down a little bit. And that's probably correct. But at the end of the day, this is my legacy. And I want to leave a legacy that no one can say that he didn't work hard, he didn't try hard. His team was always out there trying to better the area, trying to improve the quality of life. And so I'm driven. I'm a driven guy. I'm still young. I'm passionate about what I do. And so, I just enjoy the job that I have. And I'm humbled by having this job that the people believed enough in me to elect me in 2022. And I don't want to let them down. And I don't want to let myself down, most of all.
And how has the experience been?
It's been a very learning experience. Every day is a teachable moment, right? I'm learning something new every day. As you know, one of my mentors passed away tragically 2 weeks ago. He's taught me a lot over the last 4 years. Didn't teach me everything, but taught me enough to where I feel confident going into the next 4 years that his lessons, not only about government and about city government and about life, but also about how to treat people, right? And how to make people feel like they're important. And so that's my motivation for the next 4 years to make sure that Albert's lessons carry me through the next 4 years.
In case you didn't know, it's Albert Coutinho that we're talking. You're a great leader. I normally refer to Albert as almost like we lost our captain, our
Sure,
team captain.
sure.
When we didn't know something or the protocol, or would always be, even Isabel and I would be like, call Albert, he'll know.
Yep.
And he was always available. So even for Plusable, he put on a good word in
And
the
I think
first stages, and he was always that
Yeah,
person.
and I think a telltale sign was a 2 hour and 16 minute wait at the funeral home, a cathedral that was full from the first row to the last. It's a testament to how many lives he touched,
Mhm.
including mine and yours and so many others. And so,
And without really asking for anything in return other than
one,
just seeing the community thrive.
100%.
Yeah. But I'm pretty sure if there's someone that could keep that legacy, I mean, we all should carry that sense of responsibility, honoring the people that he touched. But you're definitely in a position to carry that torch, at least for the next 4 years.
At
But I'm
least.
at least, but I'm pretty sure you'll always be giving your contribution because you also share those same values of embracing people and supporting one another. Regarding the Portuguese community, I feel that the Portuguese community, and I know that you're very passionate about, you're Portuguese American from Mortosa, something that you always share with pride. But unfortunately, I feel that our community lacks this sense of collective responsibility and moving collectively and voting collectively. What do you think that lacks, or what do you think that should be done for us to educate specifically Portuguese that have given such a noble contribution to this
Sure.
ward, right, and to Newark? But at times it's almost like everything just sounds so distant between them and the local government, you know?
Yeah. So I always talk about the great history of the Portuguese going back 125 years. I believe no other culture can talk about the Ironbound like the Portuguese can. They really changed uh, what the Ironbound was back in the 60s and the 70s. But the truth hurts. There's no unity in the Portuguese community. They're very, very divided. Uh, One of my campaign promises was to make sure that I brought back the history of Portugal Day, that I brought back some of the pride in being Portuguese, and some of it's worked and Others I'm still fighting. And one of those things I'm fighting is the unity. I believe that we don't have all, we should get together and stand by one another instead of being divided. And that's still a problem. And again, most will say, oh, elections aren't important, so on and so forth. And that's the Portuguese way of thinking. And it's up to me and my responsibility to make sure that I change that mindset. Do I believe people in the past have created this narrative? Yes. People maybe who sat in my seat once before? Yes. They didn't help the unification of the ward. But again, I sit down with everybody. I welcome everybody into my little city hall at 263 Lafayette Street. Anybody who wants to sit down and have a conversation about any topic that affects the East Ward and the Ironbound, my doors are always open. I've never turned anybody away.
Mhm.
And there were people that ran against me or people that were with the opposition, and I still welcome them. We've made some great strides in bringing those people along because I need everybody, but there's still not this unity that I would like to see in the Portuguese community. And sometimes it hurts to say that, but it's the truth. And so we are people that are prideful. We are people that are proud of who we are. We're
Hardworking,
hardworking. We're people of family
honest.
and faith, uh, but we're just not unified.
Mhm.
And again, I have the next 4 years to try to bring that all together.
It's not so much that we're against one another. It's just that we also, almost in general, the community. Although, I mean, we're a great example. I'm also cool with Ricky. I mean, I guess a younger generation that is maybe more Portuguese American tends to be a little bit more pragmatic and uniting and just being finding ways to collaborate and solidify. But I guess the previous generation brought a little bit of that neighborhood mentality in Portugal. When you have the Festa do
Sure.
Verão,
Yep.
and you want your aldeia to be nicer than the one next
Exactly.
to it,
Exactly.
So like, unfortunately, and I think that they bring a little bit of that dynamic, but from a collective conscious point of view, it just doesn't help. So you see a lot of Portuguese people thriving individually,
Yep.
but collectively, we could do so much more.
No doubt about it. I think the Portuguese offer the city a great, great culture and a part of history. And as the councilman, and like I always say, the son of Portuguese immigrants, proud Portuguese, by the way, proud American, we need to do better.
Mhm.
And again, it's my responsibility as the leader of the East Ward to make sure that I bring them all together. Like, listen, at the end of the day, I'm Portuguese, I'm American, but I'm the councilman for everybody. So I work hard for the Ecuadorian community, I work hard for the Mexican community, and all the little pockets of other, whether they be Germans or Irish or Italians. We need to work together to make the East Ward a better place for everyone.
And even the Italians that
Sure,
were even here before, you also
absolutely.
made an effort to honor their
Always,
legacy and
always.
try to.
Even though there might not be a lot, I raised the Irish flag last month. First thing somebody said on social media was, "Oh, there's only very few Irish. It doesn't matter. They have a great history
They're
here.
still part of
They
the
were
history.
part of the great history." And to me, and one of the things in the last 4 or 5 years that I've become is a historian to learn about a lot of what the Ironbound was and the Eastward was in the past, what it was, and what it could be in the future. And so,
Right.
again, we're moving forward.
And it shows. Um, there's obviously, like any big city, Newark is a city with some challenges, but something that we can. But there's also things about Newark that are undoubtedly great. No one can even question. One of them is obviously the strategic location. Another is the authenticity of the culture and how it translates into the food. And inevitably, the Ironbound it's a great stamp of approval and a staple of that quality and authenticity. You are the leader of a particularly diverse ward, and you just told me, and it shows that not only, although you're Portuguese and you're passionate about Portugal, you're even before that just passionate about being there for everybody in the ward, regardless of their background. How do you how tell me about this process of growing into the position of Maybe did the police background help? The fact that you dealt with everybody? Is it in your nature to deal with everybody and be a leader? And you have to adapt somewhat to different cultures and ethnicities and maintain a certain level of harmony. How has that been?
So, just to touch on what you said today, I went to a ribbon cutting this morning of a warehouse, 300,000 square feet. Why they selected Newark, New Jersey, spent $250 million on warehousing was our location, right? Got a seaport, number two in the United States of America. You got an airport that's in the top 10 in America, and you have a major transportation hub, which is Newark Penn Station. And so we are in prime location to build. And that's the mayor's vision and the council's vision. You see cranes in the air. I believe Newark has reached a point where people believe in us now. Where in the past, I said it in the press conference that we had was 10, 15 years ago, you couldn't give that property away. And now there's a 300,000 square foot warehouse sitting on it right off the turnpike and in a prime location. And so those are just indications that Newark has come a long way since Mayor Baraka and the city council has moved this city forward. And so, yes, my 28 years in policing, obviously I dealt with every type of culture in the Ironbound in the East Ward, and it led me to this. Right, I would not be the councilman if I didn't work for Newark Police and was a community service detective. And so, right there, being the community service detective for 18 years of my 28 career led me to have relationships with the Ecuadorian community, the Brazilian community, the Mexican community, the Portuguese community, the Italian community that's still here, the German community, and help those people at the time, not even thinking about public service or being a
Becoming an
councilman,
elected official.
being an elected official. I did it because, again, it's the way I was raised. My mother would always tell me that if you're in a position to help people, do so. And that's what I do. And today I continue that trend to try to help those in our community that need the help. Not every person in our community is doing well. Um, there's people that are in need, right? Just next door, I opened up a food pantry this past week at the church down the block because there's real need. You know what I mean? You go to a supermarket today, things are very expensive. Not everything is accessible to a lot of people. And so we have the Michael J. Silva Civic Association that hands out turkeys at Thanksgiving, that hands out toys at Easter, at Christmas, that hands out Easter baskets for kids and families that are in need. My Easter egg hunt, we give out bicycles and candy. So it's my obligation and my responsibility to make sure that my families are taken care of, no matter what part of the world they're from.
Hmm. With food insecurity is still a pretty big deal.
Pretty big, very big in the city of Newark. We're a food desert. And like I said, I have a ward that's big on immigration, right? Probably the ward that has the biggest immigrant population. And again, people are finding it difficult to put food on the table. And it's my responsibility to make sure that those families get what they need.
Mhm. We're also living in unprecedented times with, unfortunately, the ICE situation. Um, Pretty hard times
Sure.
that you've been trying to keep peace. How has that been? Just dealing with the federal
Yeah.
government?
So I don't think most people understand the ICE situation. So when you come into a community that the business owners are immigrants, that most likely 80% of 90% of your employees are immigrants. It has a ramifications, right? How is that business going to open if the employees are scared to come to work? How is that landlord going to pay his mortgage if his tenants don't go to work? Uh, how is the city going to operate if people are afraid to come out of their home? And that's what was happening. It's subsided some, but there are a lot of people that have gone back, that have self deported. A lot of businesses that are still suffering today from the last 2 years or so. I've always had this position that we need to take care of the good people. By all means, get rid of the criminals. I was always for that from day one. But for the good people that are here to work, that are here to do the right thing, the federal government needs to find a pathway to make them citizens. And so Again, what the answer is, there's much smarter people on the federal level than I am, but I think there should be some type of pathway for all those hardworking people that come here and want to do the right thing and be American citizens.
And how has that been to manage all the situation with the neighborhood?
So I have a good relationship with Congressman Menendez and my congresswoman that used to be my colleague on the city council, MacIver, and so we've done a good job disseminating information on what your rights are and what you're entitled to. But again, it's been difficult. Once fear is put in people, because once you get caught, you can never come back. And so that's why the self deportation has worked. And so many people have gotten back because the government gives you a stipend to go back, fix all the paperwork that you need to fix. And then when it's resolved, come back. But here's the problem: when people came over the border, they were given a court date, a piece of paper with a court date. And the court date was 3, 4, 5 years down the road. And by 5 years down the road, you've established somewhat of your life here. You got a good job. Your wife's got a good job. Your kids are going to school. You have friends in the neighborhood.
You have roots.
You have roots here already 5 years, and you got nothing to go back to. And so, what a lot of people did, I believe, was not go to those court dates, got scared that they could be deported and didn't go. And that's where the crisis lays. A lot of people, it's almost like me giving out a ticket to someone. You don't go to court, there's a warrant out for your arrest. And so that's what happens. And so a lot of people are getting picked up, not because they committed a criminal act, but they actually didn't go to court. And then there's a warrant out for your arrest, like there would be on a regular vehicle pullover or on something that you did in the system. And that's why most people are getting picked up. And I understand the fear in that. Like I said, 5 years is a long time to be here, to establish your life. And what are you going to go back to? You have nothing to go back to. And so, again, that was the major issue. Not that we had criminals in the Ironbound or in East Ward. Most of it was people that didn't adhere to that court date. And so it makes things difficult. So.
Very sad. Also has an implication when it comes to real estate. A lot of apartments.
Oh, it's a big impact on an entire community. And that's what I don't think the federal government realizes, the impact it has on businesses, on schools. I have one school here that lost about 225 kids in the East Ward. You know what I mean? And that's that 225 kids is a large amount. And so I don't think that the federal government, when putting these mandates forward, realize the ramifications behind that. And so hopefully this can get resolved and the federal government can come up with some type of reform so these people can become citizens.
At least a more humane
approach.
Before this more sad, tragic topic, we were talking about Newark thriving. And what before seemed like a distant reality, all of a sudden, you see it's visible. You see great buildings all over, and it's not stopping anytime soon. And it seems that the tendency is for it to even continue this development. Why do you think that it seems that everybody wants a piece of Newark?
Listen, Newark has always had an airport, always had a seaport, always had a major transportation hub in Newark Penn Station. I think perception, crime, those things people feared coming here. We just had 31 homicides for 2025, almost a 75-year low. The last time was in the 1950s that we had those numbers again. So I believe, being in law enforcement for 28 years, that again, people were scared to come to Newark. That perception, you would see them on TV every day, violence every day back in those days. But it's turned the corner dramatically. And I believe people are starting to believe in our city. And you could see it when people start investing millions into billions, because the Iberia project in the end will cost $1 billion. For developers to spend that kind of money, they believe in what we believe in, that Newark is open for business and headed into a new direction.
And this year is also a great year because of the World Cup and FIFA World Cup, and that could also be a great opportunity to demystify and to convince a lot of naysayers or people that are still skeptical that Newark is here and it's thriving, And if you want authenticity and authentic soccer culture, this is where you truly celebrate it.
Of course, I said it before again in multiple interviews that I believe that for New Jersey, no doubt about it, Newark is the central location for World Cup soccer, soccer in general. It doesn't have to be the World Cup, just soccer in general. But I really believe that there are not many cities across this country that have our history here. And so I always stand by whatever statement I make, whether it's about soccer or it's about the history of Portuguese or just the Ironbound in general. We have a rich history here, and soccer is one of them. And we're going to put on a great show. You're part of the Monday meetings that we consistently have right up to the World Cup. You're a big part of it. And so we're going to continue doing what we have to do to make sure that not only though for those days after the 19th of July when the final, that the World Cup still has a big reach into this community. People are going to come here who probably have never been here, and they're going to realize that the fan zone is just one entity within the Ironbound, that there's so much more to offer, and they're going to come back afterwards. And so that's what I'm hoping, that we create something in those 38, 39 days, whatever it is, that continues to linger on for our business community and our neighborhood.
Mhm. Like a focal point that people can come and then from there explore the wonders of this neighborhood.
You know, I always say it at the meeting that the councilman's responsibility is not only to the fan zone, but to every business
Yeah.
in the East Ward Ironbound to make sure that they're thriving as well, because I have a responsibility to everyone. Yes, I'm focusing on the fan zone, but any business owner is always welcome, as you know, to those meetings to attend. We give out information on how to apply for grants. We give out information on how you can apply for money to be able to create an event inside your establishment. So again, it's open to everybody who wants to come in. We're going to be working hard to putting on a good show and bringing people to the East Ward, where I think everyone will benefit from.
And I don't not only that, it's arguably probably the last time that they'll get to celebrate an event like this at Iberia,
Oh,
and there was
absolutely.
such a tradition. I
Yep.
mean,
Yep. The history of Iberia goes back 50, 60 years. I think most people in the state of New Jersey probably have eaten at Iberia at one time or another, from Cape May all the way down to the George Washington Bridge. And so, again, we have a responsibility to make sure that we put on the best show. And what I mean by we, you, me, and the collective group that participates in that,
Mhm.
to be able to put something on that we can all be proud of, not only for those 38, 39 days, but people will still be talking about it in the future.
I think it's a great opportunity. And I like the way you think because I know that no matter what happens, the Iron Man is going to be successful with the Iron Man,
Sure.
with soccer. There's a soccer culture that we breathe soccer.
Passionate.
It's there's a passionate and authentic again authentic soccer culture. We're not trying to pretend, make something out of nothing.
Nope.
It's in our DNA. So it's going to be successful. I'm pretty sure. Now, the ultimate goal, like you're saying, is that leveraging that opportunity to promote what the Ironbound truly is, even before and beyond and after soccer season.
Yeah, so you know, because we've partnered with different things, Taste of the City, sound, the sounds of the
Civic,
Ironbound,
Savor Newark.
Savor Newark, all that stuff. So we partner. So we open up. One of the things that I did that wasn't done prior was I've closed Ferry Street down. I've partnered with you and other local businesses to bring some entertainment into the area. And so the Ironbound's open. You know what I mean? I'm one of those types of individuals that I love to be outdoors. I love to go out to eat. I love entertainment. And most people do, right? They want to try something different. They want to try something that you can go to other towns and yeah, you can try certain foods, but you don't get the culture, that the variety that we have here. Again, I'll say this with facts behind me, that I don't think any other town in this state can give you the rich history of culture and restaurants and shops and cafes like the Ironbound. And
Yeah.
so I tell everybody, come to the Ironbound. You'll be amazed at the variety that you'll find, and you'll want to come back, and you will tell people to come back as well, because you just discovered a great place or a great coffee shop or a great store that you want other people to come to. The first time I ever did Taste of the City, I was walking down the street and I asked a couple from Mountainside, New Jersey, they were from, and I says, "How do you like this?" And they said, "Oh my goodness, we love this. We're going to tell all our friends."
Hmm.
When I did the second one, they came back, and now there was 10 people. And that's how things happen. They
Yeah.
tell each other about their great experience, about the Ironbound, about the culture, the food, and people will come. People
Yeah.
will come. You just have to promote it, and the rest of the Ironbound sells itself.
Yeah. And I don't want to sound suspicious because you've been gracious enough to also involve me in that initiative and Plusable. But I really honestly think it's a great initiative. We have examples not only in Portugal, in other cities in New Jersey, that they close Red Bank, Somerville, that they have some really nice roads that are closed for traffic, and it works. And I'm pretty sure that anything you do that is different, you're going to be facing some resistance.
Sure.
Even myself, I would go there all motivated. Listen, we're going to be closing Fair Street. That doesn't help. I was like, listen, eventually it's good for the neighborhood.
Sure.
I believe that Newark is still a victim of a perception that at times it's unfair.
Yep.
Yes, it has challenges, but there are cities that are way worse, and it's a matter of not letting those challenges also outshine the great things that Newark truly is. And it's a very welcoming city. In your case, the Ironbound. The IBIT has also been doing a great job promoting the Ironbound and the campaign. We all meet in the Ironbound. Meet me in the Ironbound with also Yuri Alves and Dream Play with that free
And
fishing
also,
campaign.
I don't want to forget the mayor,
Yeah, the
the
mayor.
business administrator,
Hmm.
my council colleagues who are always supporting all these events. Without them, it would not be possible, because you need police, you need fire to make sure that people are safe, to make sure that nothing happens. And so, without the mayor and the business administrator, my council colleagues' support, none of this would be possible.
Yeah.
So again, it's a group effort, like I
Mhm.
said, of people having the same vision that Newark is headed in a direction.
Yeah.
And I think we've created some jealousy throughout the state of New Jersey, other towns. I think we've created some animosity, but that's okay. We're
They
ready
can't
to
compete.
we're ready to punch back, and making sure that people know that Newark is moving forward and the best days are ahead of us.
Mhm. And that's a great point. The mayor is all about unity between all these organizations, Newark Happening, Newark Alliance, Invest Newark, IBID, everybody working towards pushing Newark
Absolutely.
forward, including the ward. And I see that, and I get along, as you know, with other colleagues of yours, and we also work with different organizations in the city of Newark, and it's a pleasure for us to be a part of this movement of pushing Newark forward. But I really think that Newark is a place that people tend to. I mean, the mayor loves Adega.
Sure.
It's also a pleasure to. We also book the entertainment there, as you know, so it's a pleasure to have Marcy DePina performing at Adega and celebrating Newark for not only just the Portuguese, but just the talent that we
Exactly.
have as
Exactly.
a city that is so rich,
Yep.
and the Brazilian community with great talent, great musicians that come really well prepared from Brazil and Hispanic. So we're really fortunate. And sometimes only when we leave Newark, we understand the beauty that we have and the privilege that we have, especially with the food. I mean, I've eaten better, and that's true. I've eaten better in some cases in Newark than actually in Portugal.
I
Not
believe
every
it.
Portuguese restaurant in Portugal is great.
Yep. Absolutely. Listen, I was doing a cleanup on Saturday, and witnessed 10 cars drive by me, all people who don't live in Newark but came to Newark to shop on Saturday morning, to go to a fish store, to go to Seabra's supermarket, to do something here in the community, and then went back home. But they always come back. These were people that once lived here.
Hmm.
Some of them lived here for a long time but moved on to the suburbs, but always come back to get the things that they need, or the things that they were accustomed to for so many years, that other towns don't have to offer. And so they always come back, and they come to a bakery, which it's either Texeras or Nova Alianza or Pal de Terre. They come back to have their coffee, have their pastry, and then go to the fish market or go to Ciabra's, like I said, or go somewhere to pick up something that they need to take home. And so, listen, the history's there. It will continue as long as I'm here, and I will continue to advocate and fight for this community because we deserve the respect of the hard work we've put in to make this such a great ward.
Do you know what I think? Technology has helped in the way we communicate, and even your social media. You tend to do successful lives continuously, and I salute you for that. That you're always on it, very disciplined. But at the same time, with AI and all, I think Newark reminds us of the value of authenticity. This is not fake news.
Yeah,
This is
yeah.
not fake
Yep,
flavors.
yep.
This is authentic. And during this modern era that everything seems to be so fast, Newark reminds us, hey, this is what authenticity truly tastes. And that's something that people tend to forget about how valuable it is.
Yep.
But it's really amazingly special.
On Saturday, I was walking around with some people from the North Ward, and we were walking through the neighborhoods, and they couldn't believe how beautiful our streets were and the homes, because as people take pride in their homes, they work hard and they take pride in their homes. And so, like I said, I do so many different things. The house beautification contest, where people, beautify the front of their homes. All I'm trying to do, Carlos, honestly, is to bring back that sense of pride that I believe, I don't like to talk about the past, that I believe was lost a little bit. And you could talk about a few things from Portugal Day to other things that was kind of lost a little bit. And it's my responsibility. It's not about the $100 gift card that we give out to the winner.
It's about the
It's
principle.
about the principle of taking pride in the home that you live in. You worked hard to live there. You worked hard in this country to be able to buy the American dream, which is a home, and live the American dream. And it's up to me to try to bring out the best in that person.
People normally remember the old school Portuguese ladies just always sweeping the floor.
My
It's like,
mother, my grandmother were one of them. They would wash the sidewalk. And back then, I didn't think they were crazy. But now I'm thinking, wait a minute, wash the sidewalk, at least sweep the sidewalk. But they would actually wash the sidewalk. And it was only them. It was almost every house on the block that would do the same thing. The people took pride in home ownership and took pride in the home they lived in, because those were the people that walked out that front door that you knew was the owner. And so if the house was dirty, that would reflect on the owner. But back in those days when I was a kid, I'm pretty sure I never ran by a house that wasn't kept up by its owner. It's going back 50 years.
and how was Newark back then?
Different place. Like I said, today we find out, unfortunately, a lot of homeowners don't live in the area. They still own the homes. They're investors. And when that happens, the property ends up going down a little bit because they don't live there, right? They don't see some of the issues. Back in those days, everybody who owned a home lived in the home, and everybody knew each other. That was the major thing. Today, I don't know who my neighbors are. To the left, to the right, I don't know who they are. They're constantly people moving in and moving out, and that hurts the area as well. But I believe that most homeowners who still live here still love this area, and they're still here for a reason.
And unfortunately, sometimes it happens that people come to Newark and it becomes a staple of I made it when you move to all of a sudden to Warren
Yep,
or
to
to
the
Shore
suburbs.
Hills, to the suburbs. But people tend to forget Newark is not just any city. It's the largest city in the state, infrastructures wise, not only the airport or Penn Station, even the intersections with the
Sure.
roads. And
Sure.
I mean, there's so much here. I mean, the largest museum.
Yep.
Show me another city in New Jersey that has a Prudential Center or an NCHPAC. There's so many. People tend to take it for granted,
Yeah, for sure. Listen, whenever I go to an event in Harrison at the Portuguese Club, or I'll go to Carney's event, or even Elizabeth Pisk, I get invited to all of them. I always tell people that you may live in Elizabeth today. You may live in Harrison or Kearney today, but you stopped in Newark at one time. Everybody has stopped in Newark to live for a few months, a year, until they got on their feet and then moved out to other parts, to Warren, to Watchung, to Union, with his big Portuguese community. What's that? But everybody has roots in Newark, New Jersey. And that's why whenever I go somewhere, I was in Washington, D.C. in November, and I said it at an event that Newark, New Jersey is the capital of Portuguese immigration in the United States of America. That's a fact. That's a fact. Not many. There is not. California has a longer history. Fall River, Massachusetts has a history as well. But no one can talk about Portuguese immigration like the city of Newark, New Jersey.
Mhm. And one thing, regardless of being Portuguese, Newark gave everyone a chance
Opportunity,
towards
no doubt
that
about it.
American dream.
And that gives, I think that what's so passionate about me working so hard. My parents came here in 1943 with just shirts on their back. Not even, they came by boat. There wasn't even planes yet at the time to get people here, and they came with very little. And they lived on Madison Street. Both families lived on Madison Street. And so they worked hard. They lived the American dream. They were able to give my brother and I an amazing life. We always had clothes on our back. We always had food on the table, roof over our heads. And this city gave my parents a tremendous life. I always tell my son that if it wasn't for my grandparents and my parents, that we'd either be fishermen or farmers, because that's all Murtoz is. You either
But
you're,
good ones, though.
yes, yes,
Tough,
yes. But
strong.
again, this country, like no other country, and it's just not about Newark, it's about the United States of America, gives opportunities like no other place in the world. And again, this place, Newark, New Jersey, gave my parents and their parents opportunities that led me to have an amazing life here in the East Ward in the Ironbound, to be able to have a great career in law enforcement, to be able to be a councilman here in the city. Uh, what a dream that is come true. You know, I always tell people, listen, in the end, when my political life is over, the one thing they can't take away from me is the fact that, as old as the city of Newark is, I'm the first Portuguese American elected official in its history. And to me, that is the greatest honor. You had Augie Amador, he was born in Portugal, so he was 100% Portuguese. I'm the first Portuguese American. And to me, that's the most humbling honor that I'll take with me forever.
And do you keep your parents' memory very present, guiding you
Oh,
throughout
sure.
this
Their
journey?
their lessons carry me through the rest of my life. You know, I had strict upbringing. Uh, you know, back then when you're younger, you hate the fact that your parents are being strict, but they're doing it for a reason, for a purpose. Uh, my mother would always say, my father, not too much. My mother would always say, Michael, we know better than you. We know what's best for you. We've been through life longer than you, and still lessons that they taught me back when I was a teenager and a kid and young, carry me through life today. I always, you know, like I use Albert today in making decisions. What would Albert do? I use my parents as well as guiding me through life experiences, life obstacles, because we
Decisions.
always have them, right? In life, no matter how old you are, you always have obstacles in your life, something that doesn't work out or turn out the way you want to. How you deal with it is what's important. And again, my parents were very strict, but always had my brother and I's best interest in hand, and making sure that we were um, uh, proud of being Portuguese, proud of being American, but most of all, making sure that we always did the right thing. Not only think about ourselves, but what was the best for others, what was the best for the community. And so that's the way I was raised. My parents, again, not here, unfortunately passed away, but think about them every day. Big part of my life. Talk about them in my speeches. I would not be the man I am today if not for them, and that's a fact. There's other reasons as well, but again, I think having parents that were so supportive of me and giving me every opportunity to succeed in life means the world to me.
Mhm. You have very strong pillars that sustain your journey. You've also been cancer survivor. Um, you also dealt with it from very close with your loved one as well. But you still maintain focus, and that fuel is still pushing you forward. What do you think, based on these last 4 years, what do you think that probably would do differently for the next 4 years? Things that you would still maintain, things that you would like to see happening in the near future?
So things I like to see happening is, uh, again, Albert's vision and my vision were similar. We need more schools in the Ironbound.
Mhm.
That's what I'm fighting for today, to make sure that we listen. It's all about respect and getting. That was my message from day one with the mayor. Mayor, all I'm looking for is respect for my ward and getting my fair share of services. That's all I ask. And the mayor has been a great friend. But again, we have schools that were built during Abe Lincoln's administration. And so that goes to show you how long ago that was, in the 1800s when Abe Lincoln was president. And so we really need schools. Our community is growing, our ward is growing, and the schools are old. And we need new schools. And so that's my fight right now, advocating for new schools. Always need public safety. Public safety is very important. I don't believe people will come if they don't feel safe, right? So last year we had 0 homicides, first time in like 16 years in the East Ward that we had 0 homicides, working closely with the Newark Police Department, Captain Alexander, Director Miranda, to make sure that we're providing the services that the community deserves. But I'm driven. Like you said, I'm a cancer survivor. By the grace of God, I'm still here. And I'm going to keep fighting and advocating for cancer awareness, cure that I hope in my lifetime, if not in my son's lifetime, will happen. And I'm just driven. I'm a person that can't stand still. I try to slow down a little bit, but then I start getting antsy. I'm on my phone constantly trying to get things done. And again, I'm going to keep going and pushing, because the people elected me hold me accountable. And I want to make sure that I give them the services they deserve.
I remember when you started your term, everybody was like, "Hey, no, he's really motivated." It's the beginning, but no, you keep on increasing the rhythm. You
Yeah.
just don't.
I always use, we've put our foot on the gas pedal on day one and we haven't let off.
It's a moving
We'll keep
train.
going. Again, it's a collective. It's not Mike Silva. It's the community, business owners who's very supportive, like yourself, Plausible and WNN and SPT. I go on once a month to try to put information out to the community, being as transparent as possible, and also having an amazing team around me
Yeah.
that believes in the same thing I do. They live here, and they want the same thing that our residents want, like I do. When my street doesn't get cleaned on a sweeper, the sweeper doesn't come by, I get upset. When my street doesn't get plowed, I get upset, just like the residents do, and we have every right to. I hate to sound cliche about paying taxes, but we are tax-paying ward. And like I said, from day one, my whole agenda was to make sure that we get respect and get our fair share of services. And I cannot thank the mayor enough. There's been a few bumps in the roads. Some things haven't worked out like I've wanted to, but that's expected, right? It's a major city, like you said. Our population is constantly growing. Plus, how many people come into the city on a daily basis to do business here? It almost doubles the amount of population.
Right.
To use the airport, to use the seaport, to use Newark Penn Station. You can't even put a number on that. But I would suggest that an educated guess would be, if we have 350,000 residents during the day, there's probably 500,000, if not more, maybe 6. That's how many people use our roads and do business here, or have something going on here. And so again, this is a great city. Nothing's perfect. You can't tell me a major city across this country that doesn't have issues, but we are dealing with these issues and we are moving forward.
And it shows, because the minute NJDA and the governor announced that the fan zone would no longer be at
Liberty State Park.
everybody just the
Yep.
Ironbound.
Yep.
So
And to be honest with you, we would have put on a better show than Liberty State Park anyway. But the fact that it's not there is fine. But in the end, the Ironbound is what it is, and it's the hub of soccer around the world. Like I said, definitely New Jersey and maybe across this country.
Hmm. And that's and I would like to ask you now. So now they're preparing a fan zone in Harrison at the stadium,
Sports Illustrated Stadium.
Sports Illustrated Stadium. And do you think that that could be competition? Do you think?
I don't think sitting in a seat paying $10 looking at a screen is competition. We have so much more to offer. Like I said, we're going to have so many different things going on all those days of the World Cup, from entertainment to fitness to food to like a farmer's market, things going on that no one else is going to be able to
For
replicate
free.
for free. Right? We're not going to charge anything getting in, and you're going to be able to have a good time and to entertain yourself and do so many other things. Everything is so walking distance, right? If you don't want to if you want to leave the fan zone for a little bit, you can go to another restaurant, another bar, another cafe. And in Harrison, you don't have that accessibility to be able to do all that stuff. If you do, you're going to walk into the Ironbound, into our fan zone, into what we're trying to incorporate. And so again, Harrison could end up doing something nice, but it's far from what we're trying to accomplish in the Ironbound in the East Ward.
Hmm. So how do you see the future?
So listen, I got 4 more years. I'm looking forward to them. Looking forward to address some of the issues. One of the things that people ask me, what has been so difficult, and sometimes the bureaucracy, sometimes the red tape, but that's government, city government, right? Everybody deals with it. In city government. Sometimes it takes longer to do things that I'd like them to do, but eventually they do get done, and we move on, and we'll keep fighting. We'll keep people, like I said, my little city hall is open. It's accessible. It's more convenient than, I believe, Newark City Hall, where you got to pay for parking. Over there, you could walk. It's in the center of the Ironbound. Then you can go for a cup of coffee. Then you can go for lunch. Everything is surrounded my little city hall. And so people are welcome to come in and tell us. No complaint, I always say, is a bad complaint.
Mhm.
Everything has a solution, as Albert would say. Everything has a solution. It just needs us to work together collectively on how to solve that issue. And so we'll keep fighting. We'll keep moving on. We'll keep making the Ironbound. We'll keep filling in the potholes, because that's my number one complaint right now is the potholes. And there's potholes on my street. There's potholes on the streets I go down and drive. So I'm not immune to it. It's not like I have a car that flies over the potholes. No, I end up going through the potholes as well. But what people have to realize is that this winter was very difficult. We had 2 very difficult storms. And a lot of towns that normally don't have these issues today are having them. So when you drive through Harrison, when you drive through Kearney, you'll see that they also have pothole issues. And so again, it was a difficult winter, but we're filling them in little by little. We'll get to all the potholes, and we're actually going to be doing street paving starting soon in streets that are in the most need in the East Ward and Ironbound.
The Ironbound. I live in the Ironbound. I love the Ironbound. I'm a great champion of the Ironbound and the authenticity of the food. And you've been. I can't forget that. Not because we've always had a great relationship with one another, but you trusted blindly when I came up to you and we told you about the idea of Savor Newark, and I really appreciate you. Um, but I feel that the entrances of the Ironbound, getting like the Lancy and
Mm.
all, doesn't don't do justice
Right.
to the great things that the neighborhood truly is. Do you foresee any changes when it comes to the
Yeah.
entering the Ironbound in a more pleasant
Yeah, so
way?
Saturday was a cleanup. We actually cleaned up the Delancey Street area. It's number one on our list to get paved. Number one. So when they start paving, when the weather starts breaking consistently, not one day 80, then the next day's 30. No, it has to be consistent. That's number one on our list. The South Street ramp, Delancey, Stockton Street. We, as of last Wednesday, put up cameras strategically in areas of the East Ward Ironbound where people dump. And so within 24 hours, we already caught someone. So that doesn't help either, that people think they can come and dump their garbage in the Ironbound. And so the Newark police is going to arrest, the prosecutor is going to prosecute, and I'm going to humiliate. And so everybody who gets caught after the court system uh, enforces the punishment, their picture is going to be all over social media. because I need to be the individual that holds these people responsible, that they think that they can come from other towns. I just had one today, Basking Ridge, New Jersey, other towns, and dump on the Ironbound East Ward. And again, Newark police will arrest, the prosecutor will prosecute, and the councilman will humiliate.
There's a plan.
There's a
There's
plan in place already. I'm not going to tolerate it. And as a resident of the Ironbound East Ward, and every resident, they shouldn't tolerate it either. Because that's been, again, the perception of the Ironbound. And we need to change that perception.
Great. To get in touch with Little City Hall, should they get in touch with Fernanda? What's the best way?
So 263 Lafayette, easy location, right across the street from Ciabra's Supermarket, right alongside the Citizens Bank. The number is 973-733-3665. That's 973-733-3665. Whenever you have a situation, something, a pothole, a light out, anything that affects our quality of life, you report it to my office, and we report it to the entity that's in charge of fixing that.
I guess we're approaching the end. Anything that you'd like to add? A message for the community for these next 4 years?
Just a message to stand together, unify with one another. We can't get far if we're not together on this, if we don't have the same beliefs, if we don't want the same thing, and we're always constantly at each other. And so we fight for the things that we believe the community really needs, because we are residents here as well. And again, my goal in the first 4 years was to leave it in a better place than I found it. And I think we've done that. But again, the next 4 years are to even leave it in a better place for the first 4 and leave a legacy that we can be proud of.
I'm sure we can all be proud of it. And I'm sure that especially Albert Coutinho will be proud of you. And
He is
the
missed
that you
every
were.
day.
I
He is
know.
missed every day.
I know. But I want you to know, not as Plusable, but as your residents as well, you're not alone. And
And that's the way you accomplish things. You don't accomplish things by yourself. I said it from day one. If I thought this was a job that I had to do by myself, I would never take it. I need the support from the community, like I said, the business owners, the plausibles, the WNNs, the SPTs, and everybody in between to move the East Ward forward.
once again, thank you so much. It was
Thanks,
a great
Carlos. Pleasure.
conversation with our Councilman Michael Silva. I'll see you next time. Until then, please follow us at +PR and keep on supporting our elected officials. And of course, like our councilman would say, together, we're way stronger.